So today I'm gonna read a short snippet about Salem Witch Trials of 1692. Okay, in January of 1692, the daughter and niece of Reverend Samuel Paris of Salem Village became ill. William Griggs, the village doctor, was called in when they failed to improve. His diagnosis of bewitchment put into motion the forces that would ultimately result in the hanging deaths of 19 men and women. In addition, one man was pressed to death. Several others died in prison, and the lives of many were irrevocably changed. Time period of the Salem Witch Trials. To understand the events of the Salem Witch Trials, it is necessary to examine the times in which accusations of witchcraft occurred. There were the ordinary stresses of 17th century life in the Massachusetts Bay Colony, a strong belief in the devil, factions among Salem Village families, and rivalry with nearby Salem town, combined with a recent smallpox epidemic and the threat of attacks by warring tribes, created a fertile ground for fear and suspicion. Soon, prisons were filled with more than 150 men and women from towns surrounding Salem, surrounding Salem, surrounding Salem, surrounding Salem. Their names had been cried out by tormented young girls as the cause of their pain. All would await trial for a crime punishable by death. In 17th century New England, the practice of witchcraft. Historical background of the witch trials. In June of 1692, the Special Court of Oyer to hear and determiner to decide sat in Salem to hear the cases of witchcraft, presided over by Chief Justice William Stoughton. The court was made up of magistrates and jurors. The first to be tried was Bridget Bishop of Salem, who was found guilty and was hanged on June 10th. 13 women and 5 men from all stations of life followed her to the gallows on three successive hanging days. Before the court was disbanded by Governor William Phips in October that year, the Superior Court released those awaiting trial and pardoned those awaiting execution. In effect, the Salem Witch Trials were over. As years passed, apologies were offered, and restitution was made to the victims' families. Historians and sociologists have examined this most complex episode in our history so that we may understand the issues of that era and view subsequent events with heightened awareness. The parallels between the Salem Witch Trials and modern and more modern examples of witch hunting, like the McCarthy hearings of the 1950s, are remarkable. So, yeah. So now I'm going to read some of the frequently asked questions regarding the Salem Witch Trials. Okay, question number 1. Did the Salem Witch Trials happen in modern-day Salem or Danvers? The witchcraft hysteria of 1692 happened throughout the region, with accused and accusers coming from Salem, Ipswich, Gloucester, Andover, Methuen, and other communities. Salem Village is now the town of Danvers, and some of the sites associated with the trials and hysteria are in Danvers. Salem town, modern-day Salem, is where the trials actually took place, as well as the hangings and the pressing of Giles Corey. Here's the second question. How was the practice of witchcraft viewed in the 17th century New England? Under British law, the basis for Massachusetts Bay Colony legal structure in the 17th century, those who were accused of consorting with the devil were considered felons, having committed a crime against their government. The punishment for such a crime was hanging. Here's the third question. What was the difference between the afflicted and the accused? Were only women accused? What was the difference between the afflicted and the accused? The afflicted were those supposedly possessed and tormented. It was they who accused or cried out the names of those who were supposedly possessing them. Were only women accused of practicing witchcraft? This is number 4. Men were accused as well. 5 men were convicted and hanged, and 1 man, Giles Corey, was pressed to death for refusing to cooperate with the court. Question number 5. Were the accused swum to determine if they were witches? This is very much like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, if you think about it. Anyways, not in Salem. The practice of swimming a witch was used in Europe and Connecticut, but not in Salem. Were any of the victims burned at the stake? I believe this is number 6, if I've kept track well. Not in Salem. Burning at the stake was punishment for heresy, a crime against the church. In Europe, witchcraft was a felony in the colonies, a crime against the government. Alright, number 7. Where are the victims buried? This question remains unanswered. has it that several families came to Gallows Hill to claim their relatives and buried their bodies privately. Alright, I believe this is 8. Is anyone buried in the Charter Street Cemetery who was connected to the Salem Witch Trials? A magistrate, John Hawthorne, interrogator, and member of the Court of Oyer and Terminer, and great-great-grandfather to Nathaniel Hawthorne, who added the W to his name. Bartholomew Gedney, a member of the Court of Oyer and Terminer, and physician who was present during several examinations. Mary Corey, Giles Corey, second wife, who died 8 years before the Salem Witch Trials. Giles Corey was pressed to death in 1692 for refusing to stand trial, and his third wife, Martha, was hanged 3 days later. Reverend Nicholas Noyes, minister of Salem during the witch trials. He is likely buried in an unmarked grave. He eventually repented his treatment of the accused, and tradition follows that he suffered an internal hemorrhage and died choking on his own blood in 1717, fulfilling a 1692 prophecy by Sarah Good that God will give you blood to drink. Ooh, that is creepy. Number 9, I believe. How is the Salem Witch Trials Memorial designed? Wouldn't it be how it was? The memorial is surrounded on 3 sides by a handcrafted granite drywall. Inscribed in the stone threshold entering the memorial are the victims' protests of innocence. These protests are interrupted mid-sentence by the wall, symbolizing society's indifference to oppression. 5 locust trees, the last to flower and the first to lose their leaves, represent the stark injustice of the trials. At the rear of the memorial, visitors view the tombstones of adjacent cemetery, a reminder